activities. Every achievement-oriented individual appreciates praise and glory. People who work on teams are no different. The key is to set the rewards so that teamwork gets rewarded. I want you to consider this scenario. You have been asked to serve on a team. However, your pay is not in any way based on teamwork. How do you feel about this? You're probably not very enthused, right? In fact, you may even see this as being a distraction and a total waste of your time. That is why it's important to connect rewards with teamwork. There's many factors to consider when you're setting up a compensation system at a company or an organization. There's infinite things to consider just when you're trying to come up with incentives for teamwork. Today, I'm only going to give you an overview of what to think about in terms of incentives for teamwork. And I'm going to talk about 4 particular incentives. Wouldn't it be great if you had some information that you could use? Why reward teamwork? The National Science Foundation reviewed 300 studies on productivity. They found that pay based on performance produces higher motivation, productivity, and job satisfaction. One of these studies involved 400 companies. What this study looked at is what happens when you switch from not measuring performance to a system that's based on measuring the performance and providing some type of feedback based on performance. What happened was that productivity increased by 43%. The University of Southern California's Center for Organizational Effectiveness did a study that involved a number of Fortune 1000 companies. In 1990 they did this study, and 59% of the companies that they looked at that time used some type of, or some part of their compensation was team-based. They did the same study in 2005. At this point, 85% of these companies use some type of team-based pay as part of their compensation plan. By now, I'm sure that rate is even higher. What types of activities in teamwork can be rewarded? Let's look at this first slide. Here you see all kinds of team activities. Anything from thinking up ideas to begin with for a project to helping the company with long-term success. Each of these represents an opportunity for rewards. The important thing is to keep that team motivated and incentivized so that each and every step is taken towards success for that team. Probably the most important consideration is, when you're setting up rewards, is how to link performance with rewards. Think about it. If you can see that the goal you're going for, see that you can reach it, you feel like it's within reach, you're going to be a lot more likely to go for it. The Public Agenda Foundation did a study, and what they found was that 2/3 of workers really want to see that connection between pay and performance. What should the incentive be? Let's look at this next slide. Again, there's infinite numbers of possibilities in terms of incentives. Today we're going to look at 4. We're going to look at performance bonuses, profit sharing, project success bonuses, and individual bonuses. The first bonus is performance bonuses. A performance bonus is paid to a team when that team meets their goals, when they get the results they were going for. This is my favorite type of a bonus. It doesn't always work, and it depends on your particular situation. It may not work, but when it does work, I think it's great. An example of this took place at a software development company. They have a lot of different project teams. What they decided to do was every project team, when that team completed the project within a 5% variance, they gave that team a $500 bonus. In fact, they gave every member of that team the bonus. And they did that for every project. Another example of an effective use of performance bonuses happened at Medtronic. That's a medical device company headquartered in Minneapolis, Minnesota. They decided, instead of just giving people salary increases if they do good work, they decided we're going to just adjust the salaries based on the market, but we're going to also have a performance bonus. And this performance bonus will be based on what an individual does throughout the year. During that year, a person may serve on a number of different teams. So they're going to look at that, and they're going to figure out who did beyond what they were expecting. And if you perform beyond expected, you could end up earning as much as 24% of your salary as a bonus. The important thing here is that you had to earn this bonus every single year. Now let's turn our attention from the short-term focus to more of a longer-term focus. You can do this with this next form of incentive I'm going to talk about, which is profit sharing. Profit sharing has become quite popular. It's very easy to set up. It's easy to implement. And I want to give you 3 examples. First example is what they do at Simco. This is an industrial manufacturer that's headquartered down in South America. When Ricardo Semler stepped in as CEO from taking over from his father, he decided to set up a profit sharing plan, and each unit would have their own profit sharing plan. The way it would work is that 23% of their after-tax profits that unit could award that money as bonuses. They would elect 3 representatives, and then those representatives would get with the workers and figure out how to divvy up the money. They would vote on it. Usually, each person got an equal share. Another company that has successfully used profit sharing is Southwest Airlines. In 1973, Southwest was the first airline that took advantage of profit sharing for their employees. From 1991 to 1995, Southwest stock value increased by 300%. I'm sure you can imagine if you were an employee and you were working there then, that you could see how your contribution really made a difference to the company overall. Southwest has had many of their employees become millionaires because of this plan. My third example involves GE, General Electric. When Jack Welch stepped in as chairman of the board in 1980, he realized that his stock did not amount to very much. It just wasn't worth very much. He, at that time, had options on 17,000 shares of stock, which hadn't even realized gains of $80,000 after 12 years. That's pretty dismal. He decided that what he would do is step in and take some action. He would work with the board and change the way they did their profit sharing program. By the year 2000, he made a lot of changes, and by the year 2000, 35,000 of GE's employees held options worth over $12 billion. GE employees became the single largest category of shareholders at GE. The important thing here, though, is that owning stock really changed the behavior of employees. Instead of just caring about their immediate activities, they broadened their scope. They started caring about the whole company. This laid the foundation for sharing ideas across departments and across the whole organization. This example of profit sharing at GE, I think, is very compelling. However, when it comes to team innovation, I think it falls short. The reason is because the link, the connection between team innovation and performance is just too diffuse. And that brings me to the next category of bonus that I'm going to talk about today, which is project success bonuses. Project success bonuses are paid to a team when that team has effective teamwork. What happens if there's effective teamwork, successful teamwork, but the outcome fails? That can happen. A company that's been really good at handling this situation is 3M. They don't punish their teams when the result doesn't turn out the way they had hoped it would. In fact, when Henry Olin was in charge of public affairs at 3M, he said, if you are threatened with dismissal after working on a team where the project fails, you will never try again. What they do instead is, if your teamwork didn't work out, then you'll be given a new assignment at the same level. Your position will be at the same level as it was before you joined the failed venture team. That way you can try again. Sometimes even project success bonuses don't work. And this brings me to the last form of incentive I'll talk about today, which is individual bonuses. What if you're asked to join a team under really unfavorable conditions? The company still has to have some type of a reward. They want you to get this work done. It's very important to the company. This happened at a U.S. global manufacturing company that was talked about in the Harvard Business Review. What happened is that the people on this team just did not trust each other. And the company looked at this situation and they realized that those team members, a substantial amount of their pay was tied to that teamwork. Team members felt like it was unfair, and they realized that this was going to distract them from the work. The whole project might fail. So they changed the way they did their rewards. They decided what we have to do is acknowledge each individual's contribution and the team's role in the company's success. That's when they set up the reward so that each individual and each individual's contribution was rewarded according to how well they contributed to the team's success. Well, I feel like this could be a respectable approach under some conditions. I just do not think it's ideal. Perhaps they wouldn't have had to do this if they had paid more attention to selecting those team members from the very beginning and or put a lot more energy into creating cohesion and cooperation in the very initial stages of teamwork. Then they probably would not have had to resort to doing it that way. We have talked about why teamwork is important. We talked about what activities can be rewarded. And we talked about what that incentive should be. There are many factors that go into coming up with a compensation system, the overall plan for a company. Today we only talked about the incentives for teamwork. And in fact, we only talked about 4 of these. We talked about performance bonuses, profit sharing, project success bonuses, and individual bonuses. The right type of bonus or combination of bonuses that's right in your particular situation depends on the specifics of what you are doing. and what's happening at your company. People will do what gets measured and rewarded. Remember, we're all motivated by a keen desire for praise. The people who are inspired the most and produce the most should be recognized and rewarded the most. When this is the case, their example will lift those around them to new heights of glory.